Hello, my name is Pedro Covarrubias, and I am presenting a lesson plan in weather interactions for Middle School Education 4311. Objective: Student will identify the difference between low and high pressure systems. Student will identify different fronts. Student will be able to identify fronts and pressure systems on a map. Teaks and ALPS. The teaks that I used for this lesson plan were 8.10b. Identify how global patterns of atmospheric movement influence local weather using weather maps that show high and low pressure and fronts. The ALPS that I used were 3b and 3e. 3b is use new vocabulary in classroom discussion, and 3e share in cooperative groups. The vocabulary covered in this lesson plan was weather, climate, high pressure system, low pressure system, barometer, wind, and fronts. As you can see, the different materials were computer, projector, copies of song, worksheets, video recorder, big map for weathercast, book, and internet web browser. And these are the 5 E's, also known as the sequence of events. For engaging, the teacher will ask students what they know about low and high pressure systems and fronts. To have them engage, students will listen to the song Warm Fronts, Cold Fronts found on YouTube, and then together they will sing this song. After they have finished singing the song, the teacher will ask the students what they have learned to check for their understanding. Here is a little bit of the song I found on the internet in YouTube.
The weather changes, I've been told. Hi-ho, the weather, oh. The weather changes, I've been told. It changes day by day. The weather changes, I've been told, are caused by fronts both warm and cold. They cause the weather changes from day to day.
Explore. Part A. Students will get in partners and together have to figure out where the high pressure and the low pressure is at in different parts of El Paso. This map only has where the wind is coming from and the speed it has. This allows the students to identify how high and low pressures affect the wind speed and other aspects. As you can see, this is an example of the map the students are going to be using to do this activity. The map only shows the wind direction and the wind speed it's coming. The student is going to get the opportunity to label where the high and low pressures are at. If you can see at the bottom, it tells you different hours. You can assign students different hours and give them the independability of coming up with their guess of where the high and low pressures are at. Part B of the Explore and Hands-On activity is that the students will get with their partners on a computer and they will have to see what the weather will be like in the big cities around the United States according to the high and low pressures labeled on the map they are going to be using. This is an example of the map the students are going to be using. The map does move, showing the different low and high pressure systems, and this can allow the students the opportunity to decide what the weather would be like in the different cities around the United States. Explain. Students will read the chapter on fronts and high pressure and low pressure systems. The teacher will clear any misconceptions or questions they have from the activities and the readings the students have just done. An explanation can occur from the teacher by demonstrating the reading of the fronts and the low and high pressure from the weather channel just before they go to the next step, which is elaborate. Elaborate. Students will get a copy of the worksheet that was found in the following link. This is just an example. A different worksheet may be used. This can help the teacher see if the student got the concept that was being taught, and to see if they have to go back and change the lesson before evaluating the students. This is an example of the worksheets the students are going to be using in the elaboration part of the lesson plan. As you can see, there has questions related to a topic and maps to relate to the answers they are about to put on the worksheet. Evaluate is a very important part of the lesson plan. To evaluate, the teacher will ask the students to write on their journal daily and to list any misconceptions or questions they may have so that the teacher can get an idea of where they stand. This serves as a formative assessment to modify the lesson plan if needed. The summative assessment will be that each student has to do the forecast for a big city and identify the different fronts, high, low pressure, and the different weather conditions. This can be filmed and shown to the rest of the school, and students can feel like a meteorologist. This activity can also be linked with social studies, where students can create their own newscast and they can report current events, weather, entertainment, and sports. This can also help them develop their communication skills. This is a rubric you can use when you're evaluating your students. In my case, I graded creativity 25 points, content 50 points, grammar and voice 25 points. Please take a couple of seconds to check the details in the rubric for evaluation. MSDS and misconception. This lesson plan didn't need an MSDS. Misconceptions. The misconceptions students may have are difference between climate and weather at high pressure, weather at low pressure, and the difference between pressure and fronts. I also want to take this time to give reference to the different resources I used to create this lesson plan. WonderMap and IntelliCast for the Explore and Hands-On activity, Weather Song for the engaging activity, and the weather worksheet that served as an example for the elaboration part of the lesson plan. I also want to make note that I didn't create the maps, songs, or worksheet, but I did find a way to incorporate all of these technological advances in an engaging lesson plan. I hope you really like my lesson plan, and thank you for taking the time to view this video. Comments are greatly appreciated, and all the feedback will be taken into consideration. Thank you.